Welcome back to Solo Adventures! My name is Livy and I'm here yet again with another BGG Solitaire PnP game review. Today we're going to be taking a look at Megablast, which is a retro arcade style shoot 'em up deck builder. So as usual, if you're not interested in watching me play this game, please feel free to skip to the end to hear my final thoughts. I also just wanted to add a disclaimer that I make a lot of mistakes in this video. I was up quite late the night before learning how to play this game, and then I got up rather early in the morning and started shooting, and I was just all over the place. I hope that you can still get the gist of how this game works. Just be aware that I make some mistakes here and there. So anyway, without any further ado, let's get to the game. So as you can see, the table space required for this game is pretty big. This game is pretty massive. So I'm gonna have to move the camera around probably. Just know that this top row isn't really super important. It's mostly just like draw piles. So the setup for this game is a little bit involved. I will just try to explain what I did. So I shuffled up these 4 event cards up here, and I put them in a random order, 1, 2, 3, 4. I shuffled the obstacle cards here. I shuffled up the wave cards here, and from here I drew 4 cards for each of these levels. We randomly chose a boss of level 1 and level 2 and level 3, and we put them here in sequential order and put the rest of the bosses back in the box. Here we have the level 1 upgrade cards, level 2 and level 3 upgrade cards. Here's the boss health tracker and our health tracker. And here's our spaceship. So just like asteroids or space invaders, we are going to be moving the ship back and forth to shoot at the aliens as they descend. So this is a deck builder, and because this is a deck builder, we have to build a deck. So we start with all the level 0 cards, and then we can choose 2 of the level 1 cards to mix into our hand. I think I want the booster and an R-type laser. And then you just shuffle these cards up. There's a reference, so that's nice. Oh, it's hard to find exactly the right spot for all of the things. I'm just gonna have to move this around, I guess. But this is my draw pile. I'll put it here. And we start with drawing 5 cards. And this will be our starting hand. Now the aliens get to act first, but since there are no aliens at the moment, we don't go through the attack and move phases, we just go straight into deploy. So we take the top card of the level 1 deck, and we look at the arrows. So if we have the arrows going this way, that means that it's coming in from this side. And since there's 2 arrows, it means it moves 2 spaces over. So this is our first enemy. Now, as you can see, there are 4 aliens on this card, but we actually only have to worry about 2 this turn, because we are only on level 1, so we can ignore levels 2 and 3. And then after we have the aliens deploy, we have the event. So that means that we flip over the card where we deployed the alien, and this is boost. So that means that this enemy now has boost. And that means that this enemy gets to roll 1 additional die whenever it rolls dice. So now it's my turn. Oh, I have to set my health at 15, and we don't worry about the boss right now. So let's see what I have. So since I'm here, I'm not able to shoot these aliens yet. I have to be able to move. And the aliens can't shoot me either, because as you can see, these 2 arrows, they can shoot in this lane and this lane, but not all the way over here. So I can play 3 of these cards. So I can move, and do 2 piercing damage. So how about that? Then we discard the rest. So we play our cards. Move, and then deal 2 piercing damage. So piercing damage means that it goes through any armor skill that they might have. So in this case, if they were level 2 or higher, we would roll dice to see if they can deflect any of my damage, but they cannot. So we deal 2 damage, which is not enough to kill one of the aliens, but we do have 2 damage to apply to the next attack on this card. The aliens have 3 hit points, so I would have needed 1 more to kill them, but this is not wasted. So now the aliens get to take their actions, so they're going to attack. We have 2 aliens on the card, so we roll 2 dice. And then in addition they have boost, so they roll an additional die. So they got a 5, that's nothing. They rolled a 1, so that deals 3 damage. So 1, 2, 3. And they rolled a 3, which means it deals 2 damage. 1, 2. I already am down to 10 hit points. And now they're going to move. So the aliens will move in the direction of their arrow, but downward diagonally. So moves like this. And now we deploy another alien. And they always start on the top row. Scoot, scoot. And we flip over the event card, and this power up means that a power up token has been put into play here. So if we collect these power up tokens, we're able to do a special action. So if I collect this, then I can put it on my card, and I can have a maximum of 2. Then I can draw an additional card, or I can play an additional card. So that was the event, and now it's my turn. So these were all of the cards they put in the discard pile. Now these do not get shuffled. You put them back in the order that you played them, and you can discard them in any order you like. So you can try to build up a combo over time. Draw 5. Lots of damage. I think I'm just gonna go full on damage so I can wipe out everything here. So I'm going to play these 3 2 damage cards. Now what's great is that we can combine them all into one massive attack, so the aliens only have 1 chance to defend. In this case though, they don't have a defend action. So I do 6 damage, and that's 2, 4, 6. These are each 3 points, so there we go. Now we get to collect this card and we get to keep it. So now that I defeated this card, that means that since it's the end of the turn, I can spend this on 1 upgrade. So we just draw the top 3 upgrades, and we get to pick one. So I want shields to help me prevent damage. Now when we put the upgrade card in our deck, we put it on top. And we put the other upgrade cards that we didn't pick on the bottom. So these are all done, and we discard them. Now it's the enemy's turn, so they get to attack, but they are not within range because they can only shoot here or here. But then they will move. And then we deploy another one. So this arrow pointing here means we go to the first area available there. And then we have an event. Power up. So another power up token is deployed here, and it can be in the same space as the aliens. And then, of course, at the beginning of the turn, this also descends. So this is now in this level. So now we draw our 5 cards. Oh wow, okay, I have a lot of move and 1 defend, but I don't have any damage. I have a booster, so it'll let me draw a card. So I'm gonna play this, and then I'll draw another. Good, I have an R-type laser. So I'll play that too. So I'm allowed to do all of these actions. Draw one card, move one space, and play one engine. So I can play this card as well. That doesn't count against my maximum. So I can move 2, do some damage, and prevent 2 damage. So I'm just gonna put my prevent 2 damage over here. And now we do 2 piercing damage. And 2 and 2 is 4, so that means that we have killed one of the aliens. And we've done an additional damage that we can apply for next turn. And now the aliens will attack. There's 1 uncovered, so 1 die is rolled. That's 2. So if it's 1 or 2, it deals 3 damage. So 1, 2, 3. And now these guys will attack. And there are 2 aliens. So they rolled 2 5s, and that doesn't do anything. Oh, but I did forget, I am allowed to prevent 2 damage. So, yes, that card's important. So after they attack, then they move. So this one's gonna move down, down, like that. And this one is already at the bottom, so it's not gonna move again. And we turn over the last event card. Obstacle. So this means that an obstacle now deploys in this lane. So here's some asteroids, and these only deal damage if they collide with us. But they're also worth 2 additional cards instead of 1. I think I forgot to deploy. There we go. Now we move into our turn, so we have these 2 cards and then we draw another 3. And we can play. So I'm going to deal some damage, and I'm going to have some protective cards here as well. So I can re-roll up to 2 enemy dice and prevent 2 damage. I could have also played another tech card, but oh, I do have another one, so I can play that too. So I do 2 piercing damage, and these aliens are toast. I think I forgot to roll their additional boost. So now we can get an upgrade card. And as usual, I think I want more damage. So the aliens attack. 2 guys are uncovered here. I have a 5 and a 4. Nope, that doesn't do anything. And I have 2 guys uncovered here. 6 and a 4. 6 doesn't do anything, but 4 deals 3 damage. But I can prevent 2 damage. And yeah. Okay, so I'm super tired and I keep making mistakes, so I'm just going to do my best to try to explain how this game works. I think I've been screwing up a lot, but I'm just going to explain what I'm doing and the basic flow of the game. I hope you will forgive me. I have been up so late the past week worth of nights probably making and editing videos, so I hope you'll forgive me. But so yeah, this is basically the way the game works. After you build your deck and you continue working through it. After you defeat enemies, you get to get another card. After all of these enemies are out and after they move down another space, so this one would move like this, that one would go like that, and there would go there. Then the boss comes out. And the boss is the same as any other enemy, it's just tougher. So this one has 20 hit points. And it rolls 3 dice. So it has, it can deal 2 damage on 1 to the 3, on a 4 it discards one of my cards, and then when it defends it has 1 to 3 is turbo, and turbo means that immediately gets to move 1 space, and then it deals 1 piercing damage, so we can't deflect it. After we beat the boss, provided we survive, then we get to do the new level actions. So at the end of a new level, we can remove 1 card from the deck, which is good to get rid of the not so good cards. You can swap 1 card in your deck with a card from the upgrade deck of the same level. So we could, if I could swap a level 1 card for another level 1 card. And then I can choose 1 card from the current level upgrade deck. So for example, I would now be level 2 if I beat the boss, so I could pick a card from here. Then you shuffle up all the cards, you put them back in the deck, you gain back 5 health, and then you're allowed to start with your ship in any column. And that's really just how the game works. There's a couple extra effects like ion damage or void damage or turbo, but these are all in the manual and you'll probably have to refer to it your first few games anyway. So anyhow, I hope that was a good overview. Let's talk about this game. So that was Megablast. What are my thoughts on this game? So as usual, let's start with the build. So Megablast has a lot of cards, as I think that you can tell. It is a very big fat stack when you are done making them all, and this can take a little time, but it's not particularly difficult. So let's talk a little bit about the aesthetics of this game. I really like it. I think it's a bit interesting because to me it's pretty obvious that this game was strongly influenced by retro arcade games, but it has a very modern, dreamy, galaxy kind of pastel blue sort of feel. And I like it. I like that it feels a bit different, and I like that the designer didn't go with what would have been maybe the most obvious thing and making kind of pixelated aliens and spaceships. I think it looks quite pretty on the table, and in general I really like the art design. I like how the upgrades are very easy to tell apart in their different categories, how they can be red, blue, or green. And the cards are really nice and easy to read. One thing about these cards, however, is that the fronts and the backs do not quite line up properly, as is often the case with duplex printing. It would have been really nice if these files were set up with more of a bleed area. Now, it doesn't really matter so much with the main cards, but I especially noticed with the cards that are at the top of the line that you flip over for events. These had white borders in some places, and it was somewhat easy to tell them apart by just looking at them. I tried to disguise those borders with various colors of like purple and blue Sharpie, and it sort of worked. But I would have preferred if there was just a bit more bleed area on those cards in particular to keep things looking really nice. Even if there wasn't any like larger bleed area on the other cards, just the cards that say like 1, 2, and 3, and the event cards at the top, it would have been enough if these were just really nice on both sides. So, what did I like about this game? A lot of what I like about this game can be summed up in just its description. It is a retro style, arcade-like shoot 'em up, and it's just fun. It really does feel like one of those old arcade games, how you can maneuver your ship back and forth and how the movement really does matter. I like how the aliens slowly descend through the levels and they have their own movement patterns. That's really great. I like that whole kind of idea of the simplicity of these retro video games. But what is not quite as simple is, of course, the deck building aspect, which really adds a lot of depth to this game. So it's easy enough to understand the concept of the aliens are descending and you have to defeat them and then defeat the boss. But then you have to question, how are you going to build your deck? And there's a lot of different ways that you can do this. I really appreciate how this is a deck builder where you do not have to shuffle the cards. You discard the cards in whatever order you want, and then when it's time to refresh the deck, you just flip them over and draw again. It really helps to add that extra layer of strategy to help you build up combos. The upgrade process is quite gratifying. I like how defeating both enemies and bosses will get you cards that you can add to your hand. And there are cards that you can use to remove some of the cards that are not so good, so you can really thin your deck down. Since there's no limit to the number of times that you can reset your deck and draw again, there's really no trouble with having very few cards in your deck. You can feel free to trim out all the fat you like, as long as you can at least draw 5 cards a turn. And if you find it too easy or too hard, the rulebook includes ways that you can adjust the difficulty, which is great. I personally find the default difficulty to be just about right for me. I like a win rate in my solo games to be around 33%, and that's what I feel like Megablast is for me right now. That could change the more I play this game and if I can really figure out a solid strategy for how to build my deck. But as it is right now, it feels good. Since when you add upgrades to your deck, you have to draw the 3 cards off the top and you can only choose one, you can't just dig through the deck anytime you want to pick up any upgrades that you want. There is a little bit of chance there, and so you do have to be able to be flexible with what the cards give you. What's cool is that you can use your upgrades right away. Unlike many other deck builders where you have to shuffle that card back into your deck and you have to wait until it comes back around to use it, as soon as you get your upgrade, you can use it, which is awesome. I wish more deck builders had this kind of mechanic. So what didn't I like about this game? Well, as I said before, there is a bit of the problem with the cards and the bleed area, but it's not a huge deal and I feel like it could be easily fixed. One complaint I have about this game is its huge footprint. It's frankly massive on the table and I don't think it needs to be quite so large. I believe the cards are normal poker size, and I think they could have been scaled down just a bit to make the grid smaller and more manageable. There isn't really that much text on the cards, so you don't really need as much space as we have. And granted, the artwork is nice, but I think that being able to play it in a smaller area would be a huge pro. Something you might not like is that it can be sometimes hard to keep the powers and abilities of the cards in order, especially when you start building up a combo. For me personally, that's not so bad as long as I'm not totally sleep deprived. This might get a little bit messy and a little bit complicated. Especially when, on the surface, this looks like a very simplistic arcade-style shoot-'em-up. You might be surprised by the amount of thought that has to go into building your deck. So, all in all, what is my verdict on this game? Megablast is super fun. Try it out. I think that almost everybody will like this kind of game. I mean, if you like deck builders, if you like shoot-'em-ups, it's got a lot of things that I think a lot of people would like. The gameplay is really nice, it's balanced, it's exciting. I love how that there's 3 bosses, and so therefore you also have, 2 checkpoints along the way where you can fix up your ship and prepare for the next round. I love how the cards work really well, just going from level to level. You just ignore the aliens that have a level higher than the one you currently are on. So the level 1 through level 3 cards are all basically the same, but they do scale in difficulty. This game has everything that arcade shooters have. I mean, you've got the whole power-up tokens, you have the whole movement mechanic. It's just cool. And I think that you would have a lot of fun with this game. It does take a little bit of time to play, and it's a little bit complicated to get set up, but as long as you have the time and the space in particular, you should really have no trouble getting into this game. So I give Megablast 2 thumbs up. Thank you for watching! Please like, comment, and subscribe, and if you feel like it, you can check out my Patreon and support the channel. You can also check out the Facebook group for all things solo gaming. So until next time, friends, stay adventurous.